Well, thank you for joining us tonight. I want to thank House Pueblo for hosting us. We're always honored to be here. We are here for a Taos Municipal Schools Board of Education regular board meeting. Today is Wednesday, January 21st, 2026. For the record, it is 6:07 p.m. 6:13 p.m. I would like to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Can I please get a roll call?
President Flores,
Present.
Vice President Sprague, Secretary Trujillo,
Present.
Board Member King,
Here.
Board Member Concha.
Item 3 is pledge of allegiance. We did have a student representative that was gonna lead us in the pledge. He's unable to be here at this time, so Superintendent, could you please lead us in the pledge of allegiance? Yes, sir. For the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Land Development Statement. It is respectful to recognize the unique and enduring relationship that exists between indigenous people and their traditional territories. We acknowledge that we are on the historic homeland of the Red River people within the original territory of Taos Pueblo. This acknowledgement will oblige as a reminder of our ongoing efforts to respectfully recognize, honor, reconcile, and partner with the Red River people whose land and water we benefit from in this great valley today. Before we move forward, something that it's somewhat customary, but is not on the agenda. I would like to request if there's a member of the House Pueblo that would like to say a prayer as we start our meeting. Will you please stand?
Taudana manam yutmatsuina Pimala Huriante Gumhi Kitu Yuna Tuina Gumhi Kinama Kua Ohunama Baya Meho Unam Ya Ina Gumhi Kinatui Mayaho Pinata Meho Una Anum Yadama Unam Itui A in a hope Pita Meho Wiwa Daita Huwaka. Thank you.
If we have all remain standing, we think we would like to have a moment of silence for
In recognition of Dr. King's holiday on Monday. I think we all know the current situation of our communities, our country, and just the thanks and the freedom that we stand for. So, a moment of silence, please. Appreciate it.
thank you. Thank you all.
Excuse me, President, I just wanted to acknowledge our tribal representative, Gabriel Romero. He's the tribal sheriff representing the Taos Pueblo governor's side. The governor was unable to be here this evening. They were in the war chief also there on route from the state capitol. So
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Romero. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Honored to be in your presence. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the meeting agenda. I do have a recommendation from Superintendent Layton to table item 12.4 to the next meeting. So we'll go ahead and are there any other recommended amendments to the agenda? At this time, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the agenda with the tabling of item 12.4. And if I can, we have a second from Board Member King, call for the roll, please.
Board Member Concha,
Yes.
Board Member King,
Yes.
Secretary Trujillo,
Yes.
President Flores.
Yes. Item 6 is public comment. We do have one individual that has signed up for public comment, Mr. Stevens Hall. face the audience or the board, whatever, however you wish.
Oh.
Superficial versus sound, as in sound reasoning and pondering solutions. As for teacher housing and community schools, among other concerns, about which I've enunciated my number of occasions, I believe the school board in this community should keep in mind a larger context, a larger picture. Why should schools need to build housing for teachers, for educators? Why should schools need to provide closets and pantries for children and their families and need clothes, school supplies, and food, among probably many other needs? For the schools to build housing to serve teachers only plays into the authoritarian divide and conquer strategies and tactics. The schools' vision and focus should be more ecumenical, more universal. Affordability is a problem of a much larger universe. We're not focused on universal affordability for all. Martin Luther King spoke about a beloved community, and I don't believe a beloved community would sanction teacher housing as opposed to housing for all. A beloved community doesn't start with divide and conquer. He said that we needed to change the system, the entire system, and I believe firmly in what he said. As for housing, the Santa Fe New Mexican, in an article on the 18th, whatever day that was, about housing shortage remedies, spoke to Mackenzie Bishop, an owner and founder of the Roxo Homes builder in Santa Fe and Albuquerque area. He said, quote, "We're falling behind input as for building homes." The New Mexican the newspaper said there were lots of factors to blame, but Bishop, the owner builder, cited one factor as standing alone. Quote, "Everybody wants to talk about land use and zoning, and all those things are important." And then he goes on to say, quote, "But our biggest issue is affordability. Prices have outpaced wage growth and placed a whole lot of people out of the market. It's pushed out entry-level home buyers by and large," end quote. That's the larger vision that Dr. King started, I believe, was talking about. Another concern of mine is academics in school. The associate superintendent said some meetings ago that academics was going to be a greater focus, and I appreciate that. But having said that, I have questions about literacy and numeracy, which I believe are the heart of academics. There have been improvements. The Taos News wrote about it. I don't mean this superficially, but we congratulated ourselves with the improvement after the last series of testing. I'll be interested to see what the next series shows. And I asked the associate superintendent one time about historical data, about comparisons in terms of proficiency, in terms of literacy and numeracy. And she said, unfortunately, there is historical data, but it's not comparable for whatever reason. And I can imagine a number of reasons. I find that troubling. So that leads me back to questions of, in terms of the improvements that the schools have experienced, that pedagogy. What have you changed pedagogies? What was the pedagogy? There are new pedagogies. What are the pedagogies? I would really like to have somebody do a tutorial. Maybe it'd be a series of people, and the first would be on the pedagogies, talking about, you know, the older, the new, how they change, yada yada yada. And looking at other things like other support services, like teachers and teachers assistants, individual education programs, support staff that can help the teachers that maybe aren't teachers themselves. And then testing. It would seem to me to be hard to teach to a test for literacy and numeracy. And yet maybe that can be done. And if it can be done, I'd like to know how it can be done. So what I'm asking for, I guess, is I'd like to know, I'd like to learn, and I would like to think that the community would want to know how we got to these improvements.
Mr. Hall, with all due respect, you exceeded your 3 minutes, so if you could wrap it up.
I'll lastly say that I'm glad that the Red Willow community, Taos Pueblo, participated in the process of renaming Kit Carson Park. I'm glad that Pueblo rightly offered a solution, a name that should have been apparent to all along. And Fabi Romero enunciated what I feel. And the first attempt 10 years ago, she said, why do we always name things after old white men?
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Item 7 is presentations. 7.1 is the tribal leadership, tribal governor's office.
Hello, once again, my name is Gabriel Romero, Taos Pueblo Tribal Sheriff 2. My partner couldn't make it because he had family obligations as well. Like Ms. Martinez advised you guys that my governor as well as my secretary and the war chief and his secretary were down at the legislature. Governor does apologize for not being present at this time, so he sent me because I did this 2 years ago as war chief secretary. So I have a brief statement from Governor Martinez. For 2026, our priorities are focused on building long-term strengths for Taos Pueblo. That means protecting our land, water, improving housing, essential infrastructure, supporting public safety and community wellness, and creating more jobs and educational opportunities for our people. Our major part of that is building generational wealth so families have stabilities not just today but for the next generation. We want to invest in our youth, strengthen local economic developments, and make decisions guided by community input while always protecting our culture and sovereignty. That's from the Governor Martinez, Michael Martinez. I thank the board for being here at the Butterfly Center. I used to take care of this place. I was facilities at one time. So it's good to see this building. I welcome the parents as well as any board members, parents from other schools and stuff. We welcome to you here at Taos Pueblo. Our doors are open here at the governor's office. If any one of you need to come talk to us, the door's open to you all. That's coming from our staff here at Taos Pueblo for the 2026 staff. Welcome again, and we hope to hear more from you. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Please extend our thanks to the governor and staff. We're always very happy to be here. In fact, this year starts a new practice where we're going to be meeting twice a year with Taos Pueblo at the beginning of the year at this meeting and then towards the end of the year as well. I believe that we have worked very hard to develop a strong relationship with Taos Pueblo, and there's always work that can be done, and we want to continue and further those partnerships. And we do value the education of Taos Pueblo children and their youth. So anything that we can do or anything that where we're falling short, we want to be made aware of that. Thank you so much, Mr. Romero.
You're welcome.
Item 7.2 is our TESR report, TESR, by Renetta Mondragon, Associate Superintendent.
Good evening, President Flores, Superintendent Layton, Taos Pueblo government, and entities from Taos Pueblo. My apologies for not standing up. I was a little incapacitated at the moment, but I will be sitting down. I am presenting again the TESR report, which we reported in November. Will be for the new tribal government. Here are the copies for you. It is to review of our previous school year and how our Native American students performed within the school district. So if we can go to our
We gave it to you at the meeting.
the first slide. So reading for New Mexico visa data, is keeping in mind that our PED and the state of New Mexico had changed how we look at data. And it was just recently that PED had altered how they were going to review how the districts were reporting their data. So comparing to previous years, and we had a different assessment, is a bit challenging for the district. It's, you know, we're comparing fruit, but it's a different type of fruit that we're comparing. If we look at our overall reading for New Mexico visa data, what I have presented here is that for our Native American students, New Mexico is scoring at 30% proficiency. For our Taos Municipal School students, we're performing at 40% proficiency. That was an increase of 5% from the previous year. What we have been seeing is that our literacy scores have been accelerating. We did have, as the board knows, our CLSD grant, which is a multi-year literacy grant where we had literacy coaches in the district. We changed our overall curriculum to help support the foundations of early learning and literacy. And this is what we attribute the increase in our student scores to. If we go to our math, next slide. Math New Mexico and Vista data, we have a 15% for New Mexico reporting for our Native American students. Taos Municipal School students are at 17%. So once again, our Taos students are scoring above the average of the state of New Mexico. We did see an increase from the previous years. Again, in our math scores, this is in no way where we would want any of our students when it comes to math to be, and that is why we have said repeatedly, our focus is on math and how we're going to improve those averages for our students. We do have our math interventionists. We are working with the 6-year study cohort to improve those math scores as well. This year is our math adoption year for the school district. We're looking at new math programs and looking at streamlining it across the district. Unfortunately, the last time we adopted math, we had several different programs instead of one specific program that we can make sure that all students are receiving the same instruction across the school district. So we're going to be addressing that issue this year with our math adoption. Next slide. For science New Mexico Vista data, this has always been a good area for our Native American students. I believe when we look at culturally where they're performing and their experiences within the community here at Taos Pueblo, they have a lot of experience that they can bring to the assessment and put that into the testing when they're going through that. New Mexico is reporting at 23%. Our students here in Taos are scoring at 34%. So once again, we're scoring above the New Mexico state average for our Native American students. We also did see an increase from last year from 26% to 34%. And always keeping in mind that end of year is the end of it. There's nothing that we could do to really change it. We really look at our scores at our BOY, MOY, and EOY, which is our short cycle assessments. That's what's helping drive our instruction and our growth community. Next slide, graduation rate. This one is very concerning to our program and to our district as well. We had our increase the previous year to 84%, but then a decrease this year to 51%. If you look historically, our graduation rates for our Native American students does tend to fluctuate. So some of these students, when we look at them, they went on their 5-year graduation cohort. However, our 2024 school year students, this was our COVID year of students. So they started high school within the COVID pandemic and all of that situation that went with there. So we did lose quite a few students. Some of these students also transferred to other school districts as well, so we don't receive the full credit of their graduation in addition to that. What Ms. Lujan and I have been doing and we're working on for the state, because they don't have this in place as well, is how we can track where the students are, where they were, did they graduate from someplace else, where did they graduate from. The state isn't very good about tracking these students, and so they've asked us to come up with a system for the district, which we're working on, and then we'll be sharing it with PED when we do it. Our 5-year graduation cohort is at 85%. I attribute this to our liaisons and our tutors within the schools. They do a wonderful job of bringing back the students into the school system, making sure that they're returning, encouraging them that just because they didn't graduate on that 4-year path does not mean that it's the end of the road for them. They have opportunities to finish their graduation. In fact, PED has asked us to look at other students as well who haven't, maybe didn't, graduate because of the assessment on that Algebra 2 piece. And so we're looking at the list of students that we can call back and say, come back and let's see how we can get you your diploma, for graduation. So we do a decent job of graduating our students within the 5 and the 6 year cohort. Are there any questions on this one?
Board have any questions?
So when we're looking at our attendance rates, this is always, I hope my board remembers and everybody else remembers the pie. So EED took that big pie and said, here's what your present rate is. And then took a slice of that pie and said, here's what your absentee rate is. And then out of that little slice of pie, they said, okay, well, out of that entire, we're making that a whole pie again. And we're gonna look at your chronically absentee rate. If we look at our Native American students, the previous year we were at 17% for absentee. And this year we're at 16%, so we did reduce that for our students. And again, I want to thank all of our Native American tutors and liaisons for all of the work that they do in reaching out to the parents and to the students and coming up with ways that they can collaborate. And then again, our attendance coaches and our school site principals for working with families as well. So our present rate was at 83%, and then if you look at this year, it was at 84%. When we look at our chronically absent, which is that little piece of the pie, 59% of the 16% are chronically absent of our Native American students. And then not chronically absent are 41% of that 16%. So we have shown an improvement with our students when it comes to the absentee rates. New Mexico chronic absentee rate was at 39%, and for our Taos Municipal Schools is at 59%. So this, we do want to see a reduction, and I don't like people or the other districts to beat us. So we're looking at making sure that we're showing better numbers than what we have right now. Next up is all of our funding sources for our Native American students, and I won't go through each one of these, but we do have all of our title programs that help to support our Native American students. And then specifically, we have our formula grants, we have our state Indian Education Act grants, and then the district has always committed the impact aid, special education, Indian add-ons, thank you, Ray, for our Native American students. So that goes specifically to our students. That is never touched by any operational or any other program. It does vary every year. It depends on what our numbers look like and how much we're receiving back from the federal government for that fund. But those are the 4 specific funds that are just specifically dedicated to our Native American students. I did include a new slide. I know this was a question for tribal government when we did meet for our consultation last week on Monday, looking at our IEC participation. This has been, I want to say in the previous years, when I first started with IEC, it was a struggle to get parents there. Sometimes it was only 1 or 2 or 3 of us, and board member Concha would be one of the 1 or 2 that would participate. When we started working with tribal education from Taos Pueblo, they came up with a wonderful idea on presenting a cultural piece before our IEC meeting to get more parents involved. And we did see an increase in parents attending our IEC meetings. You can see at the end of the year, our biggest event is the graduation event. We had tribal government that attended, all of our parents did. This was an event that was held at the high school, and we'll be holding that event again to honor our graduates for this school year as well. So our new programming and district initiatives is we do have that second liaison that was requested to be a part of our program. And then we also have our continued adding cultural literature to all of our school sites. Oh, yeah, and if we can introduce our liaisons, we have the two.
Ms. Christina Mares is Mares Gallegos is our newest liaison advisor. She serves the middle school 3 days a week and the high school 2 days a week. And then Ms. Delavina Sanchez is full-time at the high school too. Those are our liaison advisors. In addition to Ms. Pat, who you know is our tutor language teacher, she's also a part-time even ed tutor. And Jeanette Hill, who has a family emergency, is our Indian tutor at the elementary level, serving all of our elementaries.
So next up is our celebration, the end of the year graduation with tribal government. That was a very well attended event, and we will plan on doing that again for this year. So we'll be sending out invitations for that. Back to school event, we had 234 students that received supplies, school supplies. That's a collaboration between the Taos Pueblo federal government and then our education and youth outreach. Thank you. And then our and then Taos Municipal Schools as well. It was 116 families that attended the event. Our Silo by Literacy, we had 2 students who had received it last year. And then our liaison tutors, I do want to acknowledge the district for this. One of the liaisons, which is a certified teacher and is an expense for the district, is being paid out fully from our operational funds. It's not hitting any of our Indian education funds. And then one of our tutors is also 100% out of our operational funds as well. So that's how the district is supporting our Indian education program, in addition to in the other areas that they do. Projects for this year is to increase our supports to our Native American students participating in college visits. We have looked at participating earlier in college visits, addressing and tracking freshman cohorts to increase graduation 4-year rates, and then working with surrounding charter schools to ensure student transition to Taos Municipal Schools, their transition is successful. One of the other items, and I hadn't put this on the November, we were kind of iffy if we were going to do that. Our Native American program is participating in the Flex Fridays, or the CEO Fridays, my apologies, CEO Fridays, and we do have a specific class for our Native American students where they're receiving instruction in their cultural ways. And so Ms. Lujan is actually going to be doing a few of the classes for our students. So I appreciate all of our principals for helping support us in the school sites and then embracing any of our initiatives that we do bring before them. And with that, I stand for questions.
Board members have questions? Board member King?
Yes, I appreciate that, Associate Superintendent Michael. You mentioned about math programs. Who determines the math programs? It seems like you're trying to bring it together before who?
So this goes with our President Flores, Superintendent Layton, Board Member King. This goes before our entire district. We do have a committee that we bring together. It's our adoption committee. They have specific requirements that they have to follow. It's the NMPED guidelines that we're following. So looking at everything from a high quality instructional materials, and then also culturally relevant as well. So the committee represents not only our district staff, but we also reach out to the community, which will reach out to Taos Pueblo as well, to have people sitting on the committee to review the materials. After that, everybody will vote on the new materials that we're going to be adopting, and then we'll bring it before you, the board, for a presentation so that you can see what the committee had decided on.
Thank you.
Are there any further questions?
Just one, with the governor's office representative, there's nothing like hands-on with the Fridays at the high school students, like the Kiva celebrations, the science that's involved, if you will, maybe, business. We have a lot of artists at the Pueblo that kids can mentor, there's nothing like hands-on, the kid that has a dad that's a mechanic, he just hangs out, sees what goes on, and, you know, he knows how to fix cars, so it's just one of those things that, you know, I should think about. It's right in there. Community, older, youth, you know.
I'd like to say something on my behalf. My son, he actually watched me 2 years ago, become War Chief Secretary. He did trail maintenance with us. And as of this year, he is actually a War Chief staff member, for 2026. So he's on the other side of tribal government. Yesterday, he just kind of told me, did you set me up when you sent me to go hike with you to go do trail maintenance? And I told him, no, I didn't. Your grandpa's up there did. And he goes, well, okay. That's all he said, but he's doing good. He kind of focused now on tribal government. He's never really done it. So he's been asking me a lot of questions. I'm like, well, I'm on the governor's side. You're on the war chief side. So stick with your line and I'll stick with the politics. And that's all I hope.
Ms. Renetta, and again, this question is for you. How do the children respond to that Flex Friday, that program that you have?
It hasn't started yet. This is, the class is gonna start on the 30th.
Okay,
For second semester, we just, with Emmy's blessing, we were able to create a class that was put out as an option for our students to choose, because there's a lot of different classes on Flex Friday, plus internships, plus, you know, working opportunities for students. So of those that are at the school on Friday, several students chose to be in this class, and we're gonna do lots of cultural projects, the first one being Moccasin Nikki. So, yeah, it's exciting.
Let
We're
me know
excited.
so I can do mine.
Yeah. Visit us during the, we'll call you, come over.
and
Talk
thank
to your
you.
kids at the
I
time.
just see that because, excuse me. When people, or when kids share ideas and they learn from each other and they encourage each other. And when they have somebody there to support them, that is the key. And that is what the outcomes are what you're gonna experience. So we'd like to hear a report. I'm confident.
I mean, this is very, very dear in my heart. I put it in multiple grants year after year after year, because, I mean, for our people, we can't participate in our doings if you don't have the right shoes. And for a lot of our kids, I mean, I had one student who made his first pair of shoes, and we ran in the foot races for the first time in his life. And he said, only because I finally had shoes. And it's, yeah, it's just, it's great, because we all have to. My dad always made my shoes. And when he passed, I was like, well, what am I gonna do for my kids? Now I don't have no more shoes. But he taught me how, and I've been wanting to share that with all our kids, you know, because we shouldn't have to depend on someone else to do it for you, right? We all need it. We need to learn how to do it ourselves.
And it's what generation. Turn on there. But thank you so much.
And I greatly appreciate teaching the kids that.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, President Flores. Thank you, to our community members that are here, our teachers, our principals, tribal government. I, want to give, my thanks to Governor Martinez, who couldn't be here, but, in listing the 2026 priorities as far as, land protection, housing, public safety, community wellness, building generational wealth, all the good stuff that you mentioned. I think that's a great investment to continue this collaboration with like the CEO Fridays, the Flex Fridays, because for the longest time since I was youth outreach coordinator, I always asked leadership, what positions are available within tribal government? How are we guiding our students to those jobs, so that, a lot of our students really don't know where they're going to go and what they're going to do when they graduate high school. I was one of those students, and nobody ever told me, we need a biologist or a water quality technician, things like that. And so knowing that the 2026 priorities are in place with this year's administration, I think we can totally use that in Flex Fridays to tailor those cultural components, to our students and let them know this is what your leadership has placed before as a priority, and to take advantage of that, to the fullest. I would really like to see, and I'm grateful that those cultural components are in place now. And to be able to push students in those directions and to continue to just foster the progress made within science and reading and improving those math scores again. And it's important, to track the reasons why our students are, maybe lacking in various areas of whatnot. And then also, I was wondering if the end of year celebration, was that in place of the banquet that usually takes place?
That's not the tribal banquet, that's just us.
That's
That's
the
our
student banquet,
native,
okay.
through our Indian Ed program, that's
Right.
our Indian honor, our
Yeah.
senior honor banquet.
And for our tribal government representative, I did get a lot of feedback this year from our own community that Taos Pueblo Indian education wasn't able to pull off end of the year banquet due to a lot of transition. But I think just communicating with our people in our community and maybe as leadership, encouraging them to bring that back for this upcoming year. I think it's huge that our students expect that deserve that recognition, and for us to not have it last year after so many years of having it, but that cohort kind of feels left out, and I did get a lot of feedback on that. And lastly, I think in this collaboration with tribal government and the priorities, also factoring in the Yazzie Martinez components and utilizing that information and the findings and figuring out how we're, to the best of our ability, offering our Native students not only the priorities from tribal government, but also what Yazzie Martinez has handed down. And even if it's not into the CEO Fridays and Flex Fridays, but just overall, where are we with implementation and everything like that? I know I ask regularly and we get reports, but I think it's super important that we have a regular update as we would all of what we get from our principals, our superintendent, things like that. I just really want to see that at the forefront as much as possible with any new developments or lacking thereof. That's it. Thank you.
Can I say one thing? On behalf of tribal government, the internship does sound great because I did it myself as well as a tourism coordinator for Taos Pueblo. We did offer the students their internship as parking monitors. They learned a lot of different things. Lona Spruce also tried to get other programs to get into the internship. I believe one of them was DNR as well. I do want to keep enforcing that. I do remember talking to board member Kuncha on terms when I was not in tribal government last year, and she said, I wish you guys would do that some other time again if you get into tribal government. I think she knew I was going into tribal government. So I am for internship, and Flex Fridays, if you need me there, I'll be there. I mean, I would love to show kids what I do as a tribal sheriff and what I do even as a facility maintenance operator for Taos Pueblo. I mean, I do that. That's what I started now, and then I became tribal sheriff. So I got that to do now. So other than that, board members, like I said, tribal government is for it. We're down to help education, our students. We think of our future. I learned that 2 years ago. A lot of things has to do with education and our future. We're not, as us getting older, we're not going to be here very long, and who knows, our future can hold a lot further than what goes on. So I do support that quite a bit in internship, and I'm pretty sure my tribal government behind me will too as well. Thank you.
Good evening, President Flores, superintendent, school board members, and faculty and principals that are here this evening. I'm Mary Alice Martinez, Teal English Program Coordinator. I apologize for not having a presentation. We usually have one, but we will in November. But in response to board member Kuncha's request for the banquet, I know we didn't have it last year. due to the transition, we don't have a director of education right now. That is a huge, loss for us, but, it's in the process of, getting, resolved. We did hire an assistant director, so she's, on board now. We are planning in June to have this banquet to recognize our senior graduates from the high schools and colleges, and we recognize that that's really important. So I just wanted to let you all know that we are gonna be having that, banquet, so thank you.
Appreciate it.
I have a couple questions.
President Flores, Superintendent Lee, board members, I just wanted to also add a recognition to Taos Middle School when we're talking about our CTE program and growing that through. I know that's been a request and from the school board, and tribal government has also asked for that. Our Taos Middle School has started a health program, and it is run by our liaison, Christina Morez, and also our school nurse, Benita Lobato, who is a member of Taos Pueblo as well. And it's in collaboration with UNM. So our students are participating in that. I believe it's on Fridays that they do participate in that program. And it's with the hopes to see them move up to the high school and participate in the health program at the high school level as well. I just wanted to share that piece.
Great. Thank you. Questions in regards to the absenteeism that we see district-wide for our Native American students. By school, where do we see the highest rates?
I would have to get into our education portal to get that to you, and I can bring that to the school board meeting at the next meeting.
Thank you for that. It is concerning to, see the high absenteeism. It's something that we're struggling with across the district. But I believe we've been making great strides. We've been focusing on being present at school. One of the questions I have is, I'm not sure how to frame this, but how are we supporting those students, and what are we doing to support those students that are chronically absent?
So President Flores, Superintendent Lee, and what we do have in place is our liaisons who reach directly out to the parents and the students and look for supports on how we can get them back into school. If it comes to that it's between a teacher and a student, or our students are missing because of that, our liaisons are working directly with the teachers and helping to give the voice to our students so that they're able to reconnect in the classroom and feel comfortable going into the classrooms. If it has to do with they're not attending because of credits and they're feeling a little hopeless on their graduation perspectives, and we're looking at showing them how they can plan out their graduation steps so that they can make it to graduation and getting them back into school. Some of the things that our liaisons and Ms. Lujan has done as well is actually reach out directly and go to the houses of the students to see what supports and resources they need. Sometimes it comes to supplies that they might need, or housing, or they're working. One of our students, I know, Ms. Lujan was actually picking them up, driving them to school because they didn't have transportation, looking at getting them internships. The high school did a wonderful job with the internship program for one of our students to help them build up more income for themselves so that they could support themselves, because that was one of the reasons why they were missing. So we're working in multiple ways, and it's a variety of issues that we're seeing with our students, and it's really on an individual basis. And this is why our liaisons are so important to this program, because instead of it being one attendance coach that's looking at an entire school, we have liaisons that are looking at specific students in a specific program.
With those students that have high absentee rates, do we bring the parents in and engage with the parents? Because for me, making that connection is very important. Having them one-to-ones and maybe just emphasizing how important it is to be in school, seeing the low graduation rates of our Native American students. And, I just did a quick calculation. I'm not a mathematician, so I could be off, but it was probably like around 63% taking those 9 years where we have there. And you do see fluctuations from going back to 2016 at 75% to dropping to 62% the next year and going back up to 73 and then dropping back down to 58. So I think we really need to get a handle on it and figure out, how we can stabilize those
Mhm.
fluctuations. And, engaging with parents, I think, is very important. There's a lot of outside factors that affect getting your kids to school, work, and so forth. So I think just want to emphasize making those connections with our parents and seeing how we could get the kids to realize how important school is and making it a priority. I think that's what, making it a priority is important.
President Flores, if I may, Superintendent Lee. One of the issues that we're finding and when we look at our students is, and actually overall in the district, we do engage with the parents. That is part of the attendance policy and the new changes that PED had put into place. So it's state statute that we do have to engage parents. They need to be a part of the process. It is in no way, it should be a punitive process for our students or for our parents. It's really, how can we work with you to help you get your children to school? I know at the mid-school, we had our community schools coordinator working with one of the parents and finding out that they just needed an alarm clock. So buying a simple alarm clock for our students helps to increase those attendance rates. However, I do want to say we have had a lot of students in our community who may not necessarily have that parent support. And so this is again where it's important in our schools that we have adults who can be that support. And it goes back to that restorative piece also, where we're looking at who is the adult that you can trust and turn to and ask for help and support and encouragement yourself to keep you in school. And so I think when we're looking at our community, when we've been in a lot of trauma, we've seen a lot of unfortunate deaths of parents of our school age children. They don't have those supports like they did previously. So I think it's up to us, and I think we see it as a school district and all of our administrators and our staff members see how can we step in and help these students who don't have the typical supports that, a normal, if you can call that, student would have in a regular situation, and how can we fill that role for them?
Thank you for that. Yes, sir.
This is from Ms. Renetta, and that is, I believe it was in one of our meetings. It was discussed, the issue with busing. And where are we with that? And again, I didn't know I don't even remember what the problem was, and that was whether we're able to bus the kids from the Pueblo. So would you explain how that works?
Sure. President Flores, Superintendent Lee, and Secretary Trujillo, it was, I want to say 8 years ago that there was actually no busing pretty much here. It was just down the main road and at, one stop at the governor's office for students. What we did that year was look at where our students were living. We worked with the realty office here at Taos Pueblo, plotted out where students were, and then created those bus routes based off of that. What we've been hearing is that it is changed where our students are living. So this year, what we need to look at again is where are the majority of our students? Do we need to change that, the routing that we have here, which was working out well before? Do we need to change it and see if there's another large population that we can use those bus routing? Also, we need to take into consideration, do those buses fit down the road where the students are? Because there are some requirements, and I think Director Herrera can speak to that, what the requirements are for that. But there's several factors that we need to take into consideration. We do have a listing of our students who live on tribal lands now that we can base it off of, and then now we can go to the realty office and relook at replotting where our students are on tribal lands. So Director Herrera would like to.
Thank you, Associate Superintendent, President Flores, for the report. Associate Superintendent is actually correct on that. The efforts were made by the district for the school busing of our tribal students here at Taos Pueblo. The route still runs, and it does run basically on the straight stretch due to the fact that a lot of the roads here at Taos Pueblo are, there's zero turnaround for, a bus. Even in neighborhoods in Taos and in Arroyondo and Arroyo Seco, we don't, and Talpa especially, we don't have the ability to turn. And then it becomes an MOU kind of thing as well. So if you have private property or tribal property that belongs to a tribal member, we would have to have MOUs with them if they have the turning radius for us to actually turn in their property. Because then it becomes an issue of, we get stuck in the mud, we create a rut similar to what waste management would go through. We are now the liable party for that. But most of it is due to the fact that we just can't simply turn around. So we're looking into how we could do it possibly next year with different places. We do have our routing software that actually makes us more efficient now. So Taos Pueblo is actually being put into our routing software so we can see if we can't peg a little bit different. But it also does change with the years because as we graduate students, we know that it's gonna then it resets. And it's wonderful that Taos Pueblo's community has grown into a lot of different places. That's great for the tribal government. So it's not so much an issue, it's more of a how can we help make it better from what we have.
And that would probably most likely help with the attendance.
So on that note, I know when we met here, not in this specific building, but here in November, I believe that we did speak about busing and bus routes and transportation. I know we have a lot on our plate in regards to the many initiatives the district is undertaking, but I would like to see that if maybe we could prioritize that. So when we're meeting again in November and we're discussing this same topic because it will come up, I hope that we can have a different conversation as to how we change not if it hasn't been done to holidays, in January, in a short window. You can't wave a wand and make things happen like we were. Yeah. But if we can look at that, that might not be the answer, but definitely would help. And then I just had one more question in regards to the college visits that are on the project list for 2025-26. More of a comment and maybe a question as well. I believe that it's very important to plant the seed with these students at a young age and get to visit college, maybe as a freshman and a sophomore versus getting them to visit college as a junior and a senior. So my question that I want to ask is, what grade level do we start initiating college visits to include our Native American students?
Middle and high school.
Middle and high school. Good. Yeah, I think the younger we get to them and show them what the world has to offer, they could start planning and so forth. So I just want to encourage that. I'm glad to hear that we're working down that road. That's all the questions and comments I have. Thank you for the presentation. We've really increased our partnership with Taos Pueblo. Not that they're underserved, but in seeing some of the percentages that we see we can always work to improve across the board. Thank you for all of your work. Our liaisons, thank you for your work and all that you do for our students. Appreciate your presence tonight and seeing the face, or face in the name or so forth. So thank you so much.
Been an honor. Thank you so much for allowing us to work with the Native students.
We wish you good luck for the spring semester.
One of the things a comment I made in past board meetings here at Taos Pueblo, and I think we're all aware of this, Taos Pueblo and the people of our Pueblo here in Taos are here first, and if it wasn't for Taos Pueblo, Taos wouldn't exist. So we need to make sure that we never lose sight of that and track of that and always make them a priority. Thank you for the presentation. Moving right along in our agenda, we have item 8, recognition. Superintendent Graham, those who honored to see this on the agenda, something that was started last year, and it's the second year. 8.1 is January School Board Recognition Month. Taos Municipal School Board Recognition.
President Flores, Secretary Miguel, members of the board. So yes, it is January, School Board Recognition Month, and I know last year, thank you,
This is don't get a speeding ticket.
Last year, we had campuses adopt each of the individual board members as part of recognition, and so just to kind of change it up a little bit, there's a little different one for each one now. And so we're gonna go ahead and start with Taos High School, and I'll go ahead and burn out to Principal.
Superintendent Layton, school board members, President Flores, and our community, the principals, our district principals have had the great opportunity, and we're honored tonight to be able to celebrate our school board and to thank you, not only individually, but as a group in front of all of our community for all the effort, for the commitment that you make to our community and our students, for the dedication, and for the continued support that you give us as school leaders. We come every month and we have the opportunity to share information about our schools with the hopes to please our board and our community, but with the hopes to also improve from, test scores to how we're working with our students. So on that note, on Taos High School, each of the principals was able to, we will be honoring each board member, and the high school is going to honor Miss Naomi Concha. So. And we would like to just say, Board Member Concha, it is an honor to be able to highlight the work that you have done for our community. I looked in doing a little bit of research about you. We looked back when you were a woman of impact a few years ago, and her commitment to at-risk population students and to looking at a holistic way of our students is a highlight for us, and it works really well with our mission of our school district and high school especially. The card there is working with our student leadership team. I told them a little bit about you, and I said how important your work is with working with mental health and wellness and really pushing forward those initiatives in our school. And you mentioned Yazi Martinez and asking all of these things. And I love the initiatives that the tribal government has. I read them in the newspaper, and I think it's extremely inspiring because it lends to our community through so many lenses. But the work that you do with the focus, all of you, but with the focus on students really makes us thrive and want to do more for our student population and our community. So with that, the gift is more of a kind of a for you, more of a holistic way to take care of you and really just really focus on the efforts that you've made, and just remember that as you are filling others' cups, that you do the same for yourself.
I appreciate that.
Next, we have Taos Middle School.
All right. I really don't know what to say after that. Ditto. Secretary Tribune, we adopted you. And so what our gift is a little bit of something from everybody not the students, but all the staff. In leadership, we often know that it's their thankless positions. We're not thanked enough. We're not acknowledged enough. And we definitely don't do these jobs to get that. You've served here for, I'm not sure how many years.
This is 6 years.
6 years. But we do thank you from the bottom of our hearts. So you're here every meeting, you ask good questions, you always have. It's very evident that you've read our packages, that you want to know more, and you want the kids the children to get better. So this is for you.
Well, I'm gonna say something. I just designed a coffee bar in my kitchen.
Oh, good.
And I collect mugs that are given to me. And I think of the people that give me these precious ones. So thank you so much.
And there is one in there from one of our teachers, Karen Pagliaro, that actually made it. So there's another, yeah.
In fact, one of my friends brought me one from, they went to the game in San Francisco for the 49
Oh,
nice.
nice.
So I got a mug from San Francisco and it's a beautiful mug. So, and I enjoy my coffee and I will think about you all. Thank you.
Next, we do have our voice. Good evening, President Flores, board members, Dr. Lane, community members, staff members from the school. I wanted to present a gift for Miss Cynthia Sprague. And we have, it's a little known, but her daughter was a teacher at the school that I was in Albuquerque, Courtney Sprague. So I actually knew Miss Sprague before I became a principal in town. So she's been a big supporter of our district, our school. She's made her presence known with regards to the way she's committed to education. And then just had the conversations with regards to what do we need at Arroyos? What can we do to make it better? And I think those words go a long way when you're really trying hard to make your school a better place. So we really want to thank her, along with all the board members. We all just kind of united, almost like the Marvel Justice League, having us all together. And we appreciate you very much. And we want to thank you for what you do. And thank you for this opportunity to present for Miss Grace. Thank you very much. Yeah. There we go. So up next, and you may need a little bit of help, Enos Garcia. I'll just counterpart you very good. But you may need a little bit of help.
Mark.
Dropping things. Good evening, board, Dr. Layton. Thank you guys. So I kind of tasked some of our students, most of our students, as you can see, with the task of coming up with a gift that's personable. So I felt like anyone can go out and buy baskets and things like that, but I wanted to present Mr. President Flores with a video that our students actually created, along with all of the actual artifacts that they created as well. So we have a video from our 5th grade.
I like my sense.
We are so thankful for the job you do for us. Thank you for the dedication that you gave to the students. Thank you for all your work. Muchas gracias por todo lo que has hecho por estas escuelas.
You want me to set all of this on your table? So our teachers came up with some really cute kind of things that go along with the things that are in your basket, and we had our students sign it. These are also handmade cards from each of our students there to say thank you personally. I appreciate that so much. And we also have another one.
We'll have some bare walls.
And one more. And thank all of you guys for everything. Thank you.
Thank you.
I definitely have some words to say. I just want to thank you, Mr. Sproul, and all the students. This is so touching. Last year, and I was coming up, with a big decision if I wanted to, run for the board again. And I had the gift that Rancho Elementary presented to me, and, I, reference it every now and then. I got a lot of, individual cards from the students, just as I received today. And it was so impactful in helping me make that decision to run for the school board for a fourth term. You know, I feel many times that, and this is very, heartfelt and personal, that I don't do enough, that we don't do enough. There's so much work to be done to support our teachers, to support our students. This is gonna be very meaningful for me. I have bare space on the wall of my office, and I guess it's been, meant to house that and hang that. I haven't put any paintings up or any, artwork, so that's gonna go to my office, and I'll send you a picture for your students. But I'm gonna be excited to go home and go through the baskets as I did, last year, and it just, please, relay my gratitude to the students and the staff. And inspiring, and, I'm a workhorse naturally. And it makes me even want to work harder, for the students of not only Enos Garcia, but of all the districts. So, I can't thank you guys enough, our words can't express the gratitude in the video. It's just very touching, and, takes a lot for me to back a tear, almost one or two almost came out. And, I try not to get too emotional, but they're truly warming. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Have Samantha send you that video, so you also have that as well.
That's good. That's all.
And then he's gonna make the video to send back.
And I also got with Emmy, and we pulled your background.
Not a saint. One of the reasons that why I ran for the school board too is when I was a school age student, I did give a lot of my teachers grief. I come from a long line of, my grandfather was an educator and a family of public servants, and I wanted to give back to my community and show God that I'm doing right by my community, and hopefully I'll make it to the great, whatever we call it.
The other side.
And of course, last but absolutely not least, Rancho's Elementary.
At the end of the chair.
Oh.
You wanted, don't get me started with you. Good evening, Board President Flores, members of the board, Superintendent Layton, members of the audience. Last but not least, I was gonna say, we are honoring, Mr. King tonight. At Ranchos Elementary, we're just so proud of all the support that you give us, all of the board members. I didn't do research because I see you in the community all the time. You're a pillar of our community, not only business-wise, but many organizations, with your church work as well. So that's wonderful. And I always appreciate that you read our board reports, and you do ask very good questions, and so I'm really appreciative of that. Our staff did want to honor you for your outstanding work towards the betterment of academics and the well-being of students at the Taos Municipal Schools. Thank you so much. Our staff signed this for you. I do have Ranchos Elementary bags for special people who visit our schools, and also but there's something that I would love for you to wear in the community to support our school.
I can show it.
Yes.
I can come in.
Thank you so much. Ranchos Elementary Mustangs. And we're really excited because it is the year of the horse. So that is the Mustang. So we're really happy about that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Superintendent Lane. Thank you to all our principals, our teachers, our students and their families. Your board members wish to make some.
President Flores, so we give it to the board. I just want to, on behalf of the administration, but also myself, it's been getting close to almost 2 years. And so I just want to thank all of you for your individual respective vision, your support, but at the same token, the ability to see things from different lenses. And that is invaluable when it comes to a district. And everyone here truly appreciates the work each of you do, time in and time out. So thank you all very much, again, on behalf of the district, but on behalf of myself.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. That's very touching, and it's got a lot more work to do, board members. Okay, moving forward, item 9, consent agenda. We did remove one item from that was consent agenda, correct? Yeah, no, okay. We have only 2 items on the consent agenda. 9.1, review and approval of board meeting minutes for December 10th, 2025, December 17th, 2025, and January 8th, 2026, and also 9.2 is a new direction solutions LLC, doing business as co-care therapy service agreement. Yes, sir.
Appreciate it, President Mark. Yeah, there's just one typo, and I did go over it with Ms. Gonzalez for the minutes. It was December 10th, right?
Yes, it was. 8:02.
8-2, it's just the, there's a typo for, that's different. So other than that, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. The minutes.
I know that. The typo.
Typo's right here, 8. The page, even second. Third. Yes, to the minutes of 8-2.
What date was that?
December 10th.
We would start. December 17th. So, Board Member King has a motion to approve the consent agenda, or you said the minutes, but they are part of the consent agenda, so could you amend your motion to approve?
Yeah, I'll amend it with the typo, with the correction for 8-2. Rehearse different as a typo, if that can be corrected to be spelled correctly. Other than that, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So future discussion, future.
It's interesting when you go back and read the minutes. It just brings to mind again, you know, what transpires in the meeting. So it's just like having a perspective from the overall movie back to you. So it just settles it of what we do in these meetings. It's just put in on paper. But you go back and you read it and it's like, we did that, and it refreshes my mind what it is that was done in those meetings by the minutes that are kept. And I think that is a good thing because these are being archived. And so it is it's good reporting for the community and for anyone wanting to look back on these minutes.
Thank you, Secretary. Board Member
And
Quinn.
I just want to echo that, President Flores. You know, Samantha's doing a really great job, and I just kind of leaned over to Ms. Gonzalez, thank you for, capturing everything because, from meeting to meeting, like Ms. Susan said, a good refresher and just, you know, a reminder of what we've already covered, where we're going, what we need to follow up on. And, yeah, I really appreciate, looking through these.
They serve a purpose.
Thank you, Board Member Concha, and I appreciate you for your comments. There is a motion on the floor to approve the consent agenda with the correction. No way that pointed out that Ms. Gonzalez would.
I'll second.
And we have a second from Board Member Concha. Ms. Gonzalez, could you please call the roll?
Board Member Concha,
Yes.
Board Member King,
Yes.
Secretary Trujillo,
Yes.
President Flores.
Yes. Item 10 on the agenda is student outcomes. Campus principal presentations, 10.1. We have a presentation from Enos Garcia Elementary, Principal Mr. Doral Stout.
One moment. One moment. Oh, no.
No, President Flores, Secretary Trujillo, members of the board, we do have a copy there in front of you. Thank you.
Here's the part, that's why I missed some.
Good evening, Superintendent Layton, President Flores, and members of the board. I would like to present to you tonight, on. Lost my train of thought there for a second. Still thinking about the kids giving you a nice. So if you go to the next one. Currently, we have 350 students that are enrolled at Enos Garcia. At the end of last year, I believe we were at 356. So our numbers have actually increased since before Christmas, because I think we were at 349 or something towards that effect. So just to speak to that, we've actually received a lot of new students from our charter schools that are coming back to our district schools. We are currently in process of doing our middle of year assessments. So our iReady and our MIR, we're currently doing that now. They should be finished in the next 2 weeks with all of our testing. So I would actually have those numbers for you guys in our next campus report. So you would be able to see those in our next campus. So this was our beginning of the year numbers for our assessments. So that's how many students we were assessing at the very beginning for progress monitoring. We now have 352, so that's what we would be assessing for our middle of year assessments. So we would get our results back from that. And like I said, I will actually have those numbers and those ratings for you guys in my next campus report so that you can see how well our students are performing. So currently, this is our placement. It is from our previous assessments, just so you're aware. But our students assessed last period were 274 out of 350. For our mid and above grade level, we had 11 students. For our early or on grade level, we had 31 students. For our 1 grade level below, we had 133 students. For our 2 grade levels below, we had 48 students, and 3 or more, we had 51 students. So I wanted you guys to have that to compare once I send those numbers to you in our next campus report, so you can see growth. And I think this might be a duplicate, sorry. Our attendance overview. We currently have 113 students who are in good attendance. We no longer say perfect attendance because we want our students to have something to strive towards. Because normally when you say perfect, if they feel like they've missed a few days, they don't think that they can attain that status. So we use the terminology good attendance. So for our students who have good attendance, which is 5% or less up to date, they would fall in our first category. For our 40%, which is our dark green, when we are printing out our charts, it is 140 students, which is 40%. Light green, which is on track, we have 29%, which is 102 students. These students will be considered on track for graduation. Our at risk or our yellow are at 21%, and that would be equivalent to 74 students. And 10% are at critical, which are 34% of our students. Next slide. So this month, it actually fell, this reporting month fell during our holiday, our Christmas holiday. So we actually only, I only had my staff do praise calls. Usually during our PLC cycle, they do data, they do lesson planning. So there's different aspects that they have to do per week in that month. Because of the short month, I only allowed them to do praise calls, which is them giving calls to their parents for something good. So they're not calling them for a bad thing. And 100% of my staff completed their praise call, 2 or more praise calls. And that's that's what I asked of them, is at least 2. Most of them completed 3 or more. I have some who did 10. So overachievers. Next slide. These are our recent December activities, right around break. We had our NDI performance. We had our holiday meal with Mr. and Mrs. Claus, where parents and families were able to take pictures with them. We also have our winter house games. So I recently created a housing system. I don't really have a better, I guess, way to explain this other than like similar to Harry Potter. Instead of those types of names, I actually use university names. And the reasoning behind that is so that I can support our post-secondary exploration. So a part of our housing system, when we initiated it, I gave our teachers the duty of showing different universities and explaining what they have to offer. I purposefully picked IAIA to incorporate our Native American heritage and literacy as well, because they showed a video, they explained to those students that this is what this school has to offer. Being a graduate of a HBCU, I understand the importance of seeing someone who looks like you presenting information to you. So I wanted to show them that there is a venue and there is a space for everyone. Next slide, please. So our winter house games. We had quite a few. It was the week right prior to us going on break for our winter break. On Monday, we had what was called Fitness Day. We actually did a challenge, which I called reindeer relay race. So it was, and let me explain this a little better. Each day I had different grade levels representing their houses. So each student in our school is assigned a house. And for that day, it was our pre-K and 5th grade students that were working together. One of the reasons that I did that is to teach leadership skills. So our 5th graders were our leaders. So they had to help or instruct our pre-K students the rules and regulations that went along with the game. So I gave them a leadership role to teach them the responsibilities that are expected of them in our society in general. A lot of them were like, oh, that's my little cousin, that's my my niece, that's my nephew. So it really brought that sense of family. And that's also an aspect that I wanted to teach through creating these housing assignments for our students. So Monday we had our fitness. On Tuesday we had our knowledge challenge, which was similar to Jeopardy. So we had our students that represented that, and they answered questions to earn points for their house. Wednesday I did 2 challenges. We had a fashion challenge and we had a cookie decorating challenge. So For our fashion challenge, we had our parents actually come in. We picked certain students to represent their house. They were kinders. The parents came in and I gave them different types of ornaments, wrapping paper and tape to make a outfit out of for their student. So I have some pictures at the bottom that you will be able to see that in action. And one of the things that I really enjoyed that brought it, I guess that game brought out of our parents is the sense of storytelling. So one of the things that we were in our old part of the building, just so you guys have a really good idea, we were on the old side of our building close to the auditorium. I had a lot of parents saying, I went to 5th grade here. They were telling their kids, that used to be my classroom. And that really made me have a really huge sense of pride in our school to be able to have that, you know, camaraderie amongst generations. So for the parents to be able to share with their kids that that was the classroom that they were in 5th grade or 3rd grade really meant a lot to me. The parents were very grateful to be back into the schools again. So that was one of the positive aspects of that as well. And our cookie decorating challenge. So we had students decorate cookies and I actually put them on our Facebook page to be judged. So our community actually judged who won the cookie decorating competition, not myself. So that was a way to involve our community again in our schools so that they understand that, yes, we're serious, we're a school, we have education, you know, as our forefront, but we still have fun activities for our students to enjoy themselves. Thursday, we had our cooking challenge. So I reached out to some of our district level staff as well to participate in this. And what this asked of our students is to come up with recipes. So they had mystery bags that had ingredients inside of them. And it was timed. So they all opened their bags at the same time and they had to come up with a recipe with the ingredients that were in their bags. So each team was divided by their house, and there were our audience. They were kind of cheering their houses on, so they were live. They were actually in our auditorium. So to be present in that, you would have really got a sense of it. It was almost like a football game. You hear chanting, UNM, like you hear all of this chanting. So it was a really, really good experience. We had pre-K students talking about their 5th grade team members. It was just a really good experience, as well as our staff members that seemed to enjoy it more than the kids did. They were our chefs. So the kids would come up with the recipe. They would then pass the ingredients to the chef, which was our staff members, and they would have to explain how they wanted it cooked, or if it needed to be cooked at all. Our house that won was UNM. They actually created a main dish and a dessert. So that was very impressive out of the things that they had. And then on Friday, we had a talent show as well as the incentive, which was the party for the winning house. Our talent show turned out very well. We had one of the things that really touched my heart is that one of our students entered our talent show, and they're a part of Mystic Dance. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Mystic. They're a staple in our community, national champions. 2 of the girls that were younger got very shy. So they started kind of getting very hesitant on movements. One of the older girls, who was also a part of their dance team, but in a different house, saw this and went on the stage in front of them and started doing it with them. And that was something that I was waiting to see. And it really it made me feel like this serves a purpose, because it showed me that we have leaders in our school. If you can go to the next slide. These are some of the pictures of the activities. The first one is our NDI. The second one that she zoomed in on is our Mr. and Mrs. Claus. You can see them interacting with Mr. and Mrs. Claus. And another amazing aspect that I wanted to point out is our community and schools. I want to give them a really big round of applause. I tasked them with finding a present to give to each student in our school when they visited Mr. and Mrs. Claus, probably a week before this happened, and they got it done. So every student, 352 of them, received a present from Mr. and Mrs. Claus, as well as a picture. The next picture is just a picture of our scoreboard, and it shows the beginning of the week. But I put this picture up here to show the different houses. So this is the logos that we utilize, and outside of each one of our classrooms, we have those, and it tells the names of the students that are in those houses in each one of the classrooms. So I do invite my board members, when you have a chance, if you ever would like to come in and see that, and to see the presence of our houses on the outsides of our doors, you're more than welcome to visit our site at any time. Our next picture is what I was talking about. That's where they were decorating their kids or making them into, fashionable students. And the lady kind of moved out of the picture, but if you see the arm in the lower right-hand corner, that is actually the family I was just talking about, where she was telling her kid that I went to school here and that was my classroom. The middle picture on the bottom is our relay race, our reindeer relay race. So what they had to do is they had to dress the little one, the pre-K student, in the Santa Claus suit. They put them inside the basket, and the older kids were the reindeers, so they pulled them past the little cones, which were representative of houses, and they had to deliver presents, and they were just little soft balls. So they had to drop the balls out of the sleigh as they were going through the race. And the first Santa Claus to come back and go back across the finish line won. One of the things that I saw in this relay race was a lot of, I guess you could say, compassion. Even though there were students who finished last, the rest of the houses were still encouraging them to finish. So they didn't say, "Oh, I won, it's over." They actually were like, "Go, go, go," even for the very last team. So that was one of the things that I really appreciated about this experience and incorporating this into the school. This was from our cooking challenge that I was talking about. So you can see our staff members' smiles are bigger than the kids, because I think they enjoyed cooking that day more. All the way to the left on the table, that's our cookie challenge. To get a better view of those, we still have them on our Facebook page. If you wanted to see the decorated cookies, you're more than welcome. And I do encourage you to take a look at that. Our very bottom picture is our talent show. And those are the first. I didn't have a picture of the girls that I was talking about, but those were also some girls that were encouraged by our audience to continue, because they also got very shy and they were starting to not want to finish. So I did take that picture, and they all did an amazing job. They really enjoyed this aspect of the day, and they're looking forward to doing our summer games at the end of the year. And it really encourages them in the hallway to greet each other now, because they're like, "Oh, he's in my house," or "She's in my house." It no longer is about grade level. It's more about, I know more than just people in my class. I know other kids in this whole school. So that really created a sense of family.
And also community. So how'd you get Miss Atencio?
I told her it was free food.
It seems like right in there. Is that cookies? What's in there?
So that is, I think they created a pasta.
Okay.
I had to taste that. I was gonna call Dr. Layton and ask how good our medical care was. But so each one of those dishes I tasted, and it was actually very tasty. They had like pasta. I think they had hot Cheetos and cheese. And there was another ingredient. Now I can't remember what it was, but it was very strange. Marshmallows. I was kind of worried, but it actually did not taste very bad. None of the dishes tasted bad at all. I was surprised.
Is this staff? Is this staff right here?
Yes, this is Miss Lucero. She is our Phoenix Academy teacher.
Okay. What about the gentleman?
He is also a part of our Phoenix Academy. He's our EA for our Phoenix Academy.
I attended the NBI.
Mhm.
That was amazing. I mean, and apparently it was just a short time with this group.
A week.
And had the kids do, I mean, the dancing that they did was absolutely incredible. But the parents, the whole gym was full of parents. That's the way you get the parents in there. have the kids perform.
Absolutely.
But the music part, the kids and everything that they did was just so effective. And it wasn't just a dance routine, it said something. And they explained it so well, what the kids were doing and why they were doing. Oh, to me, I was just amazed. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. And what she's speaking to, so NDI teaches different, emotions and it teaches them strategies and it talks about how they can work through things. It teaches them to be kind. So like their dance movements have a meaning. And they're not just doing movements, they're explained prior to the performances what it means and why they're doing it. So thank you very much.
Together, I mean, you didn't have to say it that much. It's really quite an experience just to see that short time that they were all in sync. Even the picture shows that they're just all together. Everything that they did was, the choreography was excellent. The music was fun. It was a fun evening.
We had some of the teachers dancing along with them in the back. I don't know if you saw that. Next slide, please. So this is just a highlight of what the different activities for our winter games as well as our 5th grade poetry slam. So our 5th grade, they did an amazing job. I did not send you this slide, but I will send it to Dr. Lake so he can share it with you guys. It was on my phone, so I didn't have time to send it out. It was too large. It wouldn't let me email it. But I want you guys to all experience their poetry. I recorded some of the poems there, and you said you almost shed 2 tears earlier. When you hear it, it's very amazing to see what our 5th grade department is doing with their students. And not just in English and Spanish, they're encouraging them to write in Spanish as well. So it was very amazing, but I will send that to you. It's just that it was too large. I could not attach it to this slide. All right. Thank you for your time, and I stand for questions.
Any questions or comments for our principal English Elementary?
I just want to say, like, I really commend you on, really putting forth the peer-to-peer mentorship and the leadership components. And, we don't really even title it that, but I think just, putting it out there, I think it's super important for these younger ones to look up to their older peers and for the older peers to understand that they are being, looked at by the younger grades and things like that. And also, I'm pretty anxious to get the updated data from the iReady scores on the next campus report. And yeah, overall, I think you are doing a bunch of cool, fun stuff. And yeah, this was one of the how would I say, the cutest things to see these kids doing these challenges and cooking and dancing. And I was able to see photos of the kids wrapping paper for the fashion show and things like that. One of my friend's son was part of that, and they totally enjoyed, it's a good way to get parent participation as well. So it was really fun to read this report.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, President Moore. Mr. Sproul, I congratulate you, considering you do not have a vice principal. So, double kudos. And I will check with the superintendent. You guys have your spiel pie and come see the school and just say hi, because it's great to hear, and it's building community. Like if you heard me share with the welcome back ceremony, we will see each other again, and the students bringing them together. That's a great time of the holiday. That community love, it's special for our Christmas season. So I compliment you. It's definitely like getting the parents to come. I mean, it's huge. I know some things you can't even put in words. It's great to hear. Board member Trujillo and also board member Pache talk about is word of mouth and community, because that goes a long way. So keep up the good work.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I want to echo what Board Member Concha mentioned about the peer-to-peer mentorship. I think it's really important in getting, kids to work together and the encouragement that we spoke about. Also, just wanted to highlight some thoughts that came to my mind, creativity. I don't know where you get the idea for these games, the reindeer race and.
So I'll be very honest. My wife is also a principal. She gave me an idea of creating the houses, and I just kind of Googled things to find different types of games that looked fun. The reindeer relay I made up, but the cooking challenge and those things I found like online, and I thought it was really, really cool to have that aspect in school because a lot of kids don't get those opportunities. I know I didn't as a child to have a cooking class, not until high school. I had home ec, but not in elementary. So I thought that would be a really good experience for us.
Yeah, well, it's important, to be creative, and you're definitely showing that. The parent engagement, I think is very important, and, just you explaining and presenting to the board, you're making education exciting and being at school fun. I know that going to school is about math and reading and science, but it's good to take a little bit of a break from that and have some fun throughout the day or the weeks and the years. So I really appreciate you being so creative and creating that environment for the students. And then, we touched on this earlier about introducing our students to, college and careers. Well, the houses that you established with the university names, just putting that seed in their head, the University of New Mexico, Highlands, Eastern University, and IA. Exactly hit the nail on the head with, getting our kids introduced to, hey, this is a college, this is what it is, and just sparking some interest. So thank you for all of that. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Very exciting.
And just to share a little bit more insight, no one is great alone. Without my team, I wouldn't have these types of ideas. Without our leadership, I wouldn't have had the guidance to even do anything to that effect. One of the things that I can say is that I lean on my team a lot. I asked a lot of questions because I am new to this. One of the things that I saw a need for is the introduction of universities, because I know as a child myself, growing up in the inner city, I never thought that I would go to college. So putting that idea in our students' minds at this age, I felt would be even more effective, and it would support our middle and high school, endeavor. They won't go there thinking it's a joke. They will go there taking it seriously with a plan in place.
Any further questions or comments?
Is that a comment? Excuse me. The thought that, with all this focus on, the children getting familiar with, the college life, we could call Taos, a college town. They call it everything else. It's in our town. We have UNM, and we can call it a town, a UNM.
College County.
Because we have UNM. Thank you.
Thank you, President Flores. Thank you for members of the board for allowing me the time.
Okay, item 10.2, 10.3, and 10.4 are campus reports for review. If the board has any questions comments regarding our campus reports, please forward those to our superintendent so we could get them to our principals. Item 11, and I also want to, before moving on, thank our principals for providing the reports to the board. All that information is good to see, and it shows all the work being done in our campuses. Item 11 is the superintendent report. Dr. Fernando Jr.
President Flores, Secretary for your members of the board, and you do have a copy there in front of you. So it's beginning with our foundational for one for achievement, district enrollment for the first semester. And so now that we've concluded one entire semester, I want to say that our enrollment is at 1741. This time last year was at 1771. So we are down 30 students. So I wanted to share it's the same, almost consistent number that we've been seeing. And so hopefully, again, if we're going to the school, we'll see some increase in enrollment. But at this time, we are currently down 30 students. You divide that by, I do not have the numbers as far as the grade levels, but if we did divide that by our 5 campuses, it would be about 6 students per campus. Next one, we have the foundation will go on to achievement district attendance for the first semester. What I can say of those students that we do have enrolled, our attendance has actually gone up. We are currently, for the first semester, sitting at 92%. Last year, we were at 89% overall for the year. So as you can see, of the students who are here, their attendance is increasing. And before we go to the next one, of course, it's that time where we highlight who is going to win the highest attendance for the month of December. And it is Arroyos del Norte at 90.5%. Now, this was close. As you can see, Taos Middle School had 90.3.
Oh, come on.
Ranchos had 90.3 as well. But it just shows the effort that everybody's doing to increasing our attendance, which does have the impact to the prior slide. So our students from Arroyos will be receiving their award, their ice cream. So I know Linda's there a little bit on the salty side there, but we'll see
Just a little bit.
All right, and as we highlight our student achievement attendance, we also want to highlight our staff attendance. And for this month, the winner is Ranchos Elementary at 97%. So their staff, I love the competition. We had 96 for the high school, 95 for the middle school, 92 for Arroyos, 96 for Enos, and 97 for Ranchos. So as you can see, it is very competitive, but it's also very close.
Ironically too, Arroyos del Norte has the highest student attendance, but the lowest staff attendance.
That is correct.
So fair.
I almost hear a recount somewhere. Congratulations to both campuses. And again, this goes to the efforts that each of the principals are making to increase our attendance, both with students and staff. Up next, I just wanted to update you on the cell phone policy. Just a little bit of some data that we're able to finally get together and find out about the offenses at the high school and the middle school, because that's where we do mainly enforce the cell phone policy. So for the high school, for the first offense, we have 35 first offenses. For the middle school, 46. Second offense, 5 for the high school, 3 for the middle school. Third offense, the 1 at the high school and 2 at the middle school. And what I can say about these offenses, in that our policy does state that we are able to hold for a little bit of a longer period than what we had last year. So you can see that there's a significant drop from the first offense to the second offense, because they know that the phones will be confiscated and retained for a period of time. And I can say from experience that we've had plenty of parent calls wanting to get it back, but of course we stay firm with our policy and retain them just the way the policy reads. And so for that, I stand for questions on any one of the slides.
Board Member King.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, appreciate it, President Mark. Could you repeat the offenses, what exactly happens, Superintendent, with cell phone calls?
So I'll defer to our principals because they go through this on a daily basis.
So our first offense is, they get it back at the end of the day. Actually, yes.
Yeah.
We take it to the office. They can come and get it back at the end of the day without a parent's signature, without parents having to come and get it. The second time, parents they wait till the end of the day, they have to come get it. No, the second time is 3 days. We keep it for 3 days. And then the third time is 21 to 21 days.
Is it the same for both?
Yes.
Jimmy?
I've had to keep the phone twice for 21, well, up to 21 days. Yeah, isn't it? It's they get it back
3:10. I thought it's at the end of the day, then 3 days, then 10 days and
And then
then for
21 days.
the semester.
So I have two that have their fourth offense then, is what it is,
Now repeat that, Ms. Martinez, you say you have two that's what?
have their fourth offense.
Their
So they
fourth.
had to, and then the fifth one is they can no longer bring it, it's already insubordination. There's suspensions for it because they've been told, they've signed, like it's an ongoing insubordinate act.
Now, do you guys have pouches there in middle school?
Yes and no. So we have, eighth grade and seventh graders have pouches, new students and sixth graders do not because, there was, all these schools in the country started doing it. So there was such a need for them that we weren't able to purchase any at the beginning of the year. So the kids just know they have to have it in their backpack.
And so Member King, President Flores, members of the board, they were all back order all the way through November. Seeing that there was a state neighboring, I'm not gonna say which state because I know there's a connection. There's a neighboring state that implemented a policy, and because of that, there was a back order from months ago. But we do have them finally received and in-house.
Just one last, question. At the beginning of the year, are you guys giving the students the syllabus? Is that something on, oh gosh, online that you're letting the parents know? It's almost like, when we went to college, you get a syllabus, this is gonna.
They have an acknowledgement form. So they're not giving permission for us to take their kids' phone. It's an acknowledgement of, this is our cell phone policy, this is what's gonna happen. They do have to sign it to let us know that they acknowledge that these are the rules and the policy that's put in place for the cell phones.
Then one last thing, are we giving them the best practice? And I think it's something that even in elementary school, that this thing, for a healthy environment for kids, in regards 2 hours a day. And Max said, this is what the science says, this is what the professionals say. Because sometimes parents, you guys know, they're so busy going here to there that they don't really know what's practical and what's best policy for these electronic devices.
I can say at middle school, we don't do like a school-wide best practices. I do know in seventh grade, in health, that is touched upon as part of the lessons, but it's not implemented school-wide, no. And I think you brought that up before.
Yeah, I think we can't assume anything. It's almost like lack of a better example, obviously cell phone could be as bad as going on the river rafting. This is what the best practices would be. I think we just get in front of it. We just simply say, hey, this is what the science says. So then parents can go, oh, really? Because sometimes when someone shares with you, it's almost like let's say hunting, we're big hunting community. Hey, these are gun safety. You can't go out. You have the junior, when they go to Petco's. Yeah. And so they understand that, hey, this is the guidelines, gun should be unloaded, a phone, two hours a day. And then people are like, read a book, I was just listening on NPR. It's like, how many people now with the postal service, you guys, where will write a letter? Everything's email now. You don't even think about it. Christmas cards, that's what it was. People mailing Christmas cards, now people doing there's Valentine's cards, sometimes people. So it's what, I don't know what a stamp is. It's like 78 cents now or something.
Board member King, when we first implemented the policy, we sent out those best practices. I recall that sending it to parents through our weekly memo, and then any information as far as our cell phone was. It was an ongoing, but as parents, you hear it from the doctor, the limited screen time. And now I just shared with our staff how screen time in general, technology is really kind of gauging the future of cognitive development for our students. So there was just a share out from this doctor that talked about how since we've almost gone, and technology will kill me, but one-to-one, how the development of children has lessened. So that's just something to think about, how we're looking at our teaching practices at the high school, and it's not changing. We're not taking anything away. It's just being intentional about, those pencil to paper, to close the computers, use it as a resource like it was intended to be. But post-COVID, I think we just opened it, and that's the expectation that we have, that it's all information coming from that one source.
And we've started to implement the same at the middle school because our students don't even have legible penmanship.
Mhm.
Because they don't, it was computer. I mean, you hear it in the elementaries that they don't even teach them how to do curse stuff. So let alone, I mean, my eighth grader, his writing's horrendous. It's like one word. His whole paragraph is one word. There's no spaces, there's nothing. So there has been big concern with our teachers. So they really have tried to close the laptop, give handouts and have them write first, like, because now during COVID, you do the first draft on the computer, then you're just going in and editing your draft. Now they're writing it out.
Intentionality behind everything that we do, the education, like you mentioned, it's about educating why, when we first implemented the cell phone policy, it was like taking something away. It's not. It's educating you about how important it is to not have it. Those distractions you cannot learn, so those, and the good thing, whether we're using the pouches, we don't see like an extreme amount, but they are put away. The kids know that you don't have them in school. Once you're on campus, you're not supposed to have your phones. You're not supposed to have them out at lunch, and especially not in class. So those are all things that are important for our staff and community to stay on top of.
President Flores, Secretary through you, members of the board, what I do want to say is, as I from time to time peruse through our camera systems, one of the things I check for are students in between when they leave a classroom with a hall pass, and because that's the perfect opportune time to go reach into a pocket and pull up a phone or not. What I don't see is that exact effort, and I want to commend our principals because that means the students understand the importance of it is not to be used at any time. And so as I again peruse through the camera systems, what I don't see are students taking that time from hall to hall, room to room, or to restrooms to use it. So I do want to make that comment.
Mr. Bell.
Just so the board is aware, we do enforce our cell phone policy that knows. I've confiscated, there's at least 10 level 1s. I usually don't get a level 2 because once I've taken it once and their parents have to come and pick it up at the end of the day,
Yeah.
they don't pull it out. But a lot of our, violations are during dismissal. So our kids go outside and they're sitting in their bus lines waiting on the bus and they're like trying to play games or whatever, on their phones. So that's usually my highest risk for cell phone usage. So one of the other aspects that we did in our classrooms is explain addiction to cell phone usage to our older grades, to 4th and 5th graders, because that was our grade levels that were really just losing their minds with getting their cell phones taken away. And that seemed to help a great deal. Them understanding that this is a flaw and it's not something that's beneficial to you unless you're doing something educational on it, really helped them in that rationale, like you were talking about, Board Member King. Providing that directly to the students actually helped us a great deal more than sending home the rationale to the parents, because a lot of time for at least elementary parents, they're overwhelmed with so many things being sent home. They usually don't read what's in their child's backpacks a lot of the times. And just for clarification for my middle school principals and high school principals, we do still teach cursive writing during social studies because we study the Constitution. So our older kids, 2nd grade, also does it as a part of motor skills. So they teach them how to do the swoops. So it's taught mostly in 2nd and 4th and 5th. So there is a period of time that it's not focused on because there's other skills that are more important and are more standard based because they're trying to get them the foundation initially. But 2nd touches on it, and then 4th and 5th also touch on it.
President Flores, and one of our conferences, there's a presentation that is done by one of the vendors, and they have a sheet, and it has all the cursive writing, and it's being really reintroduced into the schools. It had been gone out for a while, I think, and now it's coming back. But I think it's coming from, again, having the kids write and think what it is that they're writing, because that's where the development comes. That's where the conceptual learning comes, when they're literally putting on paper what they're thinking to write. Mm-hmm. And I, in fact, even yourself, when you stop to think of what it is that you're going to write, it takes a thought, mm-hmm. and that it is developed But it isn't just a learning something, it's a conceptual learning, and then when you write it down, it takes on an entirely different meaning to me, for me. And I go back and I said, I wrote that. I'm like, "Oh, really? But again, we're amazed by what our minds are capable of if we are taught. And if you all are implementing what is important for these kids. But the life is changing and now with AI, they're just pushing it to no end and I think it's a dangerous practice.
You don't know what you think until you write it down. Any further questions for Superintendent on this,
Thank you for the reporting.
Thank you.
I mean,
it's good to hear that cursive is being taught in our elementaries. Good.
Yeah.
Okay, moving forward, I guess I just have one question for you, Superintendent Mayor. Do we plan to purchase more of those cell phone policies or are students showing that practice where they're keeping their phones in their backpacks, and is there gonna be a need to purchase more phones?
There will be, as we keep every year, the new sixth grade really is where it's gonna be, because the students get to keep theirs. So sixth going to seventh, seventh, and eighth, and so on and so forth. So the new year will always bring just for the sixth grade specifically, because that's when we do bring it. And now that supply and demand has leveled off, we shouldn't see any issues with being able to provide our sixth grade.
Thank you. 12, new business, 12.1, discussion consideration of possible approval of the fiscal year 27 impact rate application and Indian policies and procedures. IPP, Ray Lujan, Indian Education Program Manager.
Good evening, President Flores, Superintendent Layton, members of the board, visiting audience. Thank you for being here with us. I have before you our annual impact data application. We considered putting it on consent agenda, but just in case you had any questions or anything, and because I require a signature, I had it on new business. Our impact data application is attached in your packets. We have, how many less? 3 less students on tribal lands and 7 less students on low rent housing projects that we claim through our district. Our Indian policies and procedures, not a thing has changed on it except dates. Just for an update, just so you know, it has already been approved by our governor, by our Board of Ed chairman at the Pueblo, and by our Education and Training Division director. And then now it comes to you guys, and tomorrow night it goes before our Indian Ed Parent Committee. So I have another big meeting tomorrow night. But yeah, so if you so see to approve the IPP this evening, I respectfully ask for a signature so that I can have it in hand tomorrow night. It is due at the end of the month, but I never ever let myself wait till the last minute because that's when we get a snow day or the internet goes down or something. And yeah, so you have any questions?
Any questions, comments from Mrs. Lujan? Board Member Concha and then Board Member King.
Yeah, that was just my only thing you mentioned. He's already gotten tribal government approval because you know how our administrations change. And so I was wondering if every administration is aware, like on the read through and, you know, just kind of like the expectations of each entity. As we heard from our tribal government official, you know, and how they really want to support, our youth and all that. I just wanted to make sure that, they have that, the whole context of what it is, as far as the IPP goes.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, this was my binder from my meeting with the governor, is not just the list of students and the impact data application and the IPP, but I also go through and share with them all the MOUs that we have with the district, between the tribe and the district, our data sharing agreement, our Tiwa language MOA, our transportation agreement, the IEC committee itself, and that there needs to be a tribal government rep on our meetings. I gave them our calendar, invited them to this meeting and to tomorrow night's meeting, and all the things. To me, our tribal consultation isn't just a one-time thing or a checkbox. It's an ongoing thing. And with every new administration, I make sure to you know, really explain to them where we're at and all the agreements we have in place and what's coming up next. And I meet with them quite often throughout the year to keep them, you know, up to speed with everything that's going on and engaged with us. Like I said, last year, what Renetta shared at our Native Honor Ceremony, the entire war chief staff and most of the governor's staff all came, and it was wonderful to see that many people there supporting our students. Yeah, we were happily shocked, but luckily as a
I also
we didn't run out of food.
Is it, how, you know, like, I know once upon a time, there used to be a student rep on this board that would, you know, do like communication report. It would be nice to kind of know what the Taos Pueblo board is doing. Like, I know there had been some times where they haven't met for like 3 years, and I don't know if there's a student that would, you know, be interested in engaging the Taos Pueblo board, and then communicating with us in some way. I just feel like there's a complete disconnect with these two boards.
We have a student rep on our Indian Ed Parent Committee. But if you read the Taos Pueblo Board of Ed charter, there is not a student rep on that.
I kind of feel like when a young person holds adults to accountability, they're more apt to, you know, and we heard our tribal officials say, you know, that youth initiatives are a focus, and I just kind of really want to tap into that and really hold that to, you know, priority somehow. And I don't know who it comes from or how it comes from, or even for me, but I do really just personally want to sit down and have that, these discussions with tribal leadership in my role as school board member, because I am representing Taos Pueblo and I see a lot of disconnects that happen. I just want to be able to respectfully communicate that to tribal officials.
So the Board of Ed did come up in our meeting, and the lack of, you know, a full board being in place right now. So it is on their radar again.
Okay.
So
thank you for keeping up with all of that.
Yes.
And I know, like, we've had this discussion, the impact aid is huge because it's not just limited to the Native American.
Yeah.
What I do feel also too is like, there should be, God forbid anything happen to you or you go anywhere, you retire, like we really need someone to be able to fill in those shoes. A huge role in this application. I know, and this is, there's a lot that goes into the impact aid application, and I think, you know, maybe we should start thinking about, you know, sharing that knowledge with somebody. I don't know if it's an assignment or a volunteer thing, but I learned that in my time with the tribe when my division director left and nobody knew how to fill those shoes, how hard it is, you know, essentially to kind of start over. And I would hate to see that happen because you've been doing this for so long, and we're totally grateful for all the work you put into it and being the only one to really just kind of navigate this whole ship of impact aid. So
Well, Board Member King? No, I think, Board Member Hunter covered it quite well. I was just, Ms. Levine, is there anything new on this? That it's pretty much, it's all one place.
It's just a count of students who have a connection to non-taxable federal property. So.
And I think Board Member Hunter raised a very good point. We all should be training our successor. I mean, and we can't, and it never happens when you plan. You know, President Mark is in, Board Member Trujillo was the county, and I just know that, you know, it's always good to have someone who knows, you know, and that's something for, food for thought to, you know, not saying that you're going anywhere, but for continuity. You know, we don't want to be,
I'm not manifesting anything.
I got dreams.
DC.
I can see the light. No, truly, I, you know, it's been a wonderful ride. I love what I do. I'm committed to my program, but I've been here 24 years, so we're
Well,
yeah.
and you deserve your peace and your time. You know, you're a human being, and you know, let's like anything, let's appreciate you and you should be celebrated. But, you know, and sometimes like we do, look for your successor, someone who has the integrity and motivation like you do, the passion. It's, you know, sorry, because you, that magic number, one more, you know.
Thank you for your comments. There's no further comments or discussion. Superintendent Williams, do you have a recommendation in regards to the fiscal year 27 impact aid application and any policies and procedures as presented?
President Flores, Secretary Trujillo, members of the board, recommend approval of the fiscal year 27 impact aid application and the policies and procedures as presented by Jerry Lupon, who will keep saying those for many years to come. The Indian Education Program Manager.
We have a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion to approve, Ms. Lupon's. I say yours, but the impact aid application and India policies and procedures as presented by Indian Education Program Manager, Ms. Ray Lupon.
Second.
We have a motion from Board Member Concha. We got a second from Board Member King. Call for the roll.
Board Member Concha,
Yes.
Board Member King,
Yes.
Secretary Trujillo,
Yes.
President Flores.
Yes. Thank you.
So bold to ask for a signature, please.
And then next item on the agenda is item 12.2, discussion consideration of possible approval for 10 days of in-person coaching on CKLA amplified materials for all elementary schools in the amount of $32,000. Melissa Eager, Director of Federal Programs.
President Flores, members of the board, Superintendent Layton, and the community members. I have before you a proposal for 10 days of job embedded coaching for our teachers on how to use our high quality materials, CKLA Amplified. This is from the CLSD grant. We have used vendors who don't work for Amplify, and I spent a lot of my time having to educate those vendors on the things that were part of Amplify. So I'd like to switch back to using Amplify coaches because I won't have to teach them about the resources.
Board have any questions? Superintendent Lane, do you have a recommendation?
President Flores, Secretary Trujillo, members of the board, I recommend approval for the 10 days of in-person coaching on CKLA amplified materials for all elementary schools in the amount of $32,000 as presented by Ms. Melissa Peter, Director of Federal Programs.
Board wish to make a motion for approval?
I'll make a motion for approval to approve the CKLA amplified materials for the elementary schools in the amount of $32,000 as presented.
Thank you, Board Member
One
Concha.
second.
We have a second from, so we have a motion for approval from Board Member Concha and a second from Secretary Trujillo. Call for the roll.
Board Member Concha,
Yes.
Board Member King,
Yes.
Secretary Trujillo, President Flores.
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Eager.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Don't go anywhere.
Don't go overboard. Next item on the agenda, 12.3, discussion consideration of possible approval of SEEDS training at Taos Cyber Magnet for 5 days of in-person SEEDS student leadership training for students in the amount of $45,337. Ms. Melissa Eager, Director of Federal Programs.
The Taos Cyber Magnet received a CSI Title I grant. So I have a proposal here that we would have 5 days of in-person training. The training would consist of a whole set of different types of activities, goal setting, cooperation, growth mindset, and neuroplasticity. We'll be working with them before they come to choose the particular activities that they're going to do. But this will allow those students to have more opportunity to have some face-to-face instruction to combine with their online learning.
I have a question. This is a virtual and in-person workshop and virtual and in-person training. Is this going to be a little bit of both, or primarily?
We're only doing the in-person options. They have virtual options, but I feel like those students get enough virtual support that I was more really looking for some in-person.
That's also good to hear that.
Well, it looks really encouraging. I was like, it'd be great for the high school, but
The funds are directly for cyber.
Good, I'm glad to see that those kids are gonna have this opportunity. Any further comments or questions from the board? Superintendent, do you have a recommendation?
President Flores, Secretary Trujillo, members of the board, recommend approval of SEES training at Taos Cyber Magnet for 5 days of in-person SEES student leadership training for students in the amount of $45,337 as presented by Lacey Weaver, Director of Federal Police.
This time I'd like to entertain a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the SEEDS training for the Taos Cyber Magnet for 5 days in person SEEDS student leadership training for students of an amount of $45,337,000.
You get a second.
One second.
Got a motion from board member King and a second from Secretary Trujillo for approval. Call the roll.
Board Member Concha,
Yes.
Board Member King,
Yes.
Secretary Trujillo,
Yes.
President Flores.
Yes. Vacancy here. Item 12.4 was tabled to a future meeting. 12.5 is discussion, consideration, and possible approval to accept the Public School Capital Outlay Council PNCOC award of $35,550.60 to Taos Municipal School for assistance in developing a 5-year facilities master plan. FMP Superintendent Lady.
President Flores, Secretary Trujillo, members of the board, I'm pleased to announce that our PSCOC has approved some funding to help with share the cost of getting the for next 5 years facility master plan in place. And so the state share is at $35,573. We have our district share as well. What I'd like to say is that this is a nice little shot in the arm. We are already going to be getting the process of a request for proposal or RFP for facilities master plan. I happen to stop in Santa Fe to speak with Steeple so we can have a timeline. I also met with the county business manager today to get some little bit pointers on our RFP process, as it's been a while since many of us have not done this. And so I just would like to share that with the board. It is something that we could have signed already because it is an award with PSCOC. However, I thought it important that we bring it up to the board's attention, also the community, so that they know that we are working towards now bond implementation and oversight.
Board have any questions for Elfrida?
Was this like, we had a presentation on this, right?
Partial. The presentation was from the companies that could potentially, depending on how the RFP process get complete. But the state itself provides the district a little bit of support in the resources of funding for specifically this.
So it's telling us here that we have, we've got a state share of 35,000, district share of 60,000. So does that $96,000 number, is that what we have to expend for the facilities master plan?
That is correct, President Flores. And so, of course, through the RFP process, we want to go through competitive bidding to make sure that we get the best price. It just says that we do have a certain amount that we have allotted.
Then in regards to the RFP, timeline you spoke about, what is the first, plan to, or the timeline for the development of the RFP? When would the board expect to see completed RFP?
So we are reaching out to the PSCOC with to specifically get some of the templates so we can get out there. We will be bringing a committee together to review the process, but it is a timed process. After getting some advice today from the county business manager, we want to work backwards. So it takes about 45 days to complete the entire process. So I expect by March that we should see a presentation to the board for approval of whomever is awarded through the RFP process.
And then I just saw the name, sure that we're required to complete the FMP and expend the award fund within 1 year of the effective date of the agreement. So upon signing this, or does this date here, what I see on this, I guess when is the effective date of the agreement to bring it back?
Yeah.
You want me to approve it tonight or?
Yes, sir. Once we approve it tonight, then it's an effective date from that point forward. And I'll send this already back to the PSCOC, give it to us so that they can begin that process of making sure that we have an account and getting the proceeds or the resources.
Let me ask you this, so in the language here, it says that, PSFA, Facilities Master Planner and Regional Projects Manager will assist you through the procurement process, so it says they'll provide us some assistance, I guess. Then selection of an FMP vendor. Are they talking about, I guess, whoever we award this to, or do they have a specific list of vendors that they recommend we work with?
In the packet, and you see, I believe it's page 4, and then, of course, for a little bit further, page 8-6. It's a green colored tab. They do have recommendations, however, of course, in this final board approvals for, we decide to go through the CES route, that they have a list of recommended vendors that they have worked with before. Now, it's a recommendation, not so much a, if you sign, this is the one you will use. This is just a funding source that we can use. My recommendation, of course, will be through an RFP competitive process so that we can put it out there for complete open bid and see what comes of it.
You see that there's 2 local firms on the list here, Henry Architects, Little Design Group Architects. Good to see that they at least have the local people listed. Now, what's the differentiation between the blue list and the green list? Or in their evaluation for consulting service?
Recommendations by the PSCOC, but again, it's up to the board and the district to see what avenue they want to take. But they do provide resources just in case a board or district should decide to go in.
Those are all my questions. RFP timeline. Are you gonna put together ready? I have a year to spend the funds.
President.
Yes.
I do like the idea of you consulting with the procurement of an accounting and what are the procurement officers?
As well as the town, unfortunately, we're unable to make it, but we will be having a future meeting date, just to give as much advice because, some entities go through it more often than others. And so whatever we can make more efficient, we'll just get that advice and continue that process.
But I think that establishing maybe a committee of them, to review, because they're experts in the field, and that would just give us a good confirmation of whatever it is the will of the mass.
Yeah, they did offer some, if I needed any guidance or any advice through our process, that I could reach out and they'll absolutely give whatever they can for you to use.
Just to add to that, I spoke with Superintendent Lee and then we had a discussion and I study recommended it. So it chooses to meet with Taos County Procurement Officer or Business Manager of South Hill, and then also gave him a name for the lady there at town. Due to the fact that they issue RFPs, multiple RFPs annually. And, as Superintendent Lane gets familiar with it, I'm pretty sure come practice and they'll be very familiar with some RFPs since we got quite a bit of money we're going to be spending with GEO bond proceeds. And I'm glad to hear that he did meet with Elsa because we both know that she has quite a bit of experience and knowledge in the RFP process. I'm happy he was able to get in touch with her.
And then the town also has huge projects that is working on, so it's their expertise again lends itself to us tapping into that and just working, but it just brings in the community just sharing all of it. This is what's happening within our community. We're sharing what we're doing with them. And they can expound on that to their own government and say, this is, we're going to be a part of what's going on in the schools and the oversight that they're wanting to afford us. And I think that's really good.
So the RFP in your secretary, so there's RFPs, RFQs, and RFIs. You're certified.
I'm starting to place a little bit of that knowledge now, yes.
So the RFP would be more of a score-based group based. So we request a proposal, review and score. Doesn't mean that we have to go to the lowest bidder, but we go with the proposal that best suits our needs.
Right, it does go through a review process, so if we went through ILB, that is a required lowest bid, and if we go through an RFP process, there's a criteria based that a committee, and only the committee will know. And at that point, if there are ties, then we can go to a second round of interviews, presentations by whomever's type. That is a specific process, it's almost, very equivalent to hiring an employee. You send it out there, you review, you score, and if there's two solid, or three solid, finalists, then you can go through that process with more personal review, and then make the selection for presentation to the board. But yes, sir, there's some differences. And thank you for the not on the CPO, because that's helping put a few things together.
One thing I've seen in like various rubrics, just last comment is, you know, they give additional percentage points like 5% or 10% for if you're a veteran owned, or 5%, 10% if you're scoring if you're Native American owned. Or in this case, what I was looking at is we have two local firms identified here on this list. Maybe we could, you know, add a 5% or some kind of score rubric. I believe in keeping money local. Obviously, they need to meet the metrics of the proposal and provide a comprehensive proposal, but I definitely want to, you know, and this is just a recommendation. Superintendent, do your leadership team and procurement staff and finance put this together, but definitely would want to, you know, be considerate of local vendors that are listed here. But, you know, not giving preference, but, you know, we want to, if all possible, you know, recommend keeping money local.
At my previous CS training for finance and budget, PSFA, Mr. John Valdez, that is part of PSFA, they have several templates that each district can use. And so that'll be instrumental to be able to create the rubrics based on what we select as the template that we would use. And of course, we can do some manual input our own.
Legally.
Yes, sir.
And in the following page, from the State of New Mexico Public Schools Facilities Authority, there's that chief procurement officer's CPO determination, and it also kind of lists in for the statutes on small purchase, the and the competitive, and for architects, engineers, scientists, again, I think exactly what you're saying, because they be going to an entirely airline it's a professional services, and the criteria is different in the bidding process, in other words.
Any future discussion, further discussion? None. Superintendent Lane, do you have a recommendation on item 12.5?
President Flores, we give members on the board, I recommend approval to accept the Public School Capital Outlay Council, PSCOC award of up to $35,533.60 to Taos Municipal Schools for assistance in developing a 5-year facilities master plan.
At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion for approval. Would a board member wish to make a motion for approval?
I'll make a motion to approve the Public School Capital Outlay Council PSCOC awards up to $35,573.60 to Taos Municipal Schools for assistance in developing a 5-year facility master plan, FMP.
We have a motion for approval from Board Member King. We have a second.
I'll second.
Got a second from Secretary Trujillo. Call for the roll.
Board Member Concha,
Yes.
Board Member King,
Yes.
Secretary Trujillo,
Yes.
President Flores.
Yes. Item 13, future topics. Does the board have any topics? Yes, Board Member Concha.
First, I just want to, on behalf of Vice President Spray, extend apologies to, for her missing the meeting. She wanted to share that she is, a new grandmother. Her first grandson was born on the 18th, and she's there, with the family, as she wanted to be here and also to acknowledge tribal leadership. And so she does want the board to know she's gonna watch the meeting over the weekend just to stay informed. But under future topics, she stated beginning the process to formally name the new auxiliary gym. and to consider visiting the use of quote unquote soft cost money that is remaining, which she believes to be in the amount of $300,000.
I guess with that being said, Superintendent, actually, I wanted to get you to state that over culture. I was curious, I have not visited the auxiliary gym. And we, as a board, we have not received a comprehensive update on it. We have received some small updates. Could we get a presentation as to where it is at the next board meeting? And then in regard to Board Member Concha's comments about starting the process for the meeting of that, maybe we could have that added on there to how the process works on that.
Yes, sir. And I'll schedule that for the February 11th.
Any other future topics from board members?
We talked about, appreciative President Mark, we talked about the site visits at the schools, now. So whatever, you and superintendent can look at that. We're gonna do informally, but, I know we're doing evaluation, but that's something we're gonna kind of, so the people who aren't on the bond committee, the board members can see. Or sooner than later.
I think it'll tie in well with the facilities master plan, because we're gonna need to visit the school sites for that facilities master plan. So, let's all keep that subject alive and well. And
Can we do it as a special meeting? And that way it can be, recorded that we did that.
we'd have to look at the logistics of that. It can be done as a special meeting, but being that we have, various school sites that are, within certain distances, it would more than likely take up probably a Saturday morning to visit 2 or 3 school sites, and then the following Saturday, or however we want to work it out, visit the remaining schools. So Ranchos, Cinos, Arroyos, the middle school, the high school, Cyber Magnet. So logistically, we'll have to work on that.
President Flores, Secretary, I'll work on the logistics because part of OMA, part of our requirements is also that we record the meetings. And so having been a little bit, if we have to go from place to place, it may make logistics a little bit difficult, but we'll figure out a way to make sure that we meet the requirements still to go ahead and do that.
Okay.
Because I think the public will, I still want to know that they might want to follow the process.
Of course.
And if I may, I'm sorry, Member King.
Sure.
One of the next steps for our committee will be the bond implementation and oversight committee, as we're moving into the next phase now. And so that committee, which will be the subcommittee of the bond advisory, is meant to ensure the public that not only are we implementing now what has been passed, but there will be oversight to the implementation of the bond itself. So just those will be the next steps for the committee, and we'll let the public as well as the board know we'll be joining our committee.
Superintendent, I think that'd be very transparent that we discuss that topic right there in an open meeting. Maybe you could put together your plan and vision for that and present it to the board for comments, suggestions at a future meeting. I think allowing the public to hear that conversation really be transparent, and then they could hear how we put it together, what your thoughts are, maybe when you're speak forward after you put together the plan. One topic I would like to see, and I know I requested it, and we've had a lot of things on our plate, but I'm really concerned, and I want to have this presented. I don't know how or who could do it, but I did hear recently that DARE, which is drug, I don't know what DARE stands for anymore,
Drug
right?
and alcohol resistance education.
Yes, I took DARE, we all were involved with DARE, I know when I was young. I heard it's alive and well just recently, and I know I had asked, I wanted to see how and what we are doing or what we can do to provide drug and alcohol awareness in our schools. There's been a lot of overdoses within our community as of late. It's well known that the drug fentanyl is laced in cannabis products, or it's being added to other drugs such as, I'm not gonna name these drugs here, but I am concerned that we need to implement some drug awareness in our schools. And if we already are doing so actively and consistently, then I would like to support being aware of what we're doing. And if we're not, I personally, and I can't make a policy decision on my own, but I want to see some drug awareness in our schools. Because it's not going to be getting any better unless we make those steps to educate and circumvent. So if we could have something like that, superintendent, maybe not at the next meeting, but at a follow meeting, but maybe you can get your leadership cabinet, figure out, you're not aware, but figure out what we're doing, maybe get some ideas together, reach out to some resources, and see how we can implement that in our schools. So with that being said, any other future topics?
So I can talk to the superintendent about the housing committee. This is Peter Dare.
Yes, and if you have any ideas, email and superintendent. Item 4 is upcoming documents with school board meetings. We have a special school board meeting scheduled for Friday, January 23rd at 2026 at 4 p.m. This is so the board can perform its reorganization and election of officers, and also to continue and hopefully finalize superintendent's mid-year evaluation. So that is Friday, January 23rd at 4 p.m. at the administration building. There's only going to be 2 items on the agenda, and the agenda was already presented to the board. And then our next regular school board meeting is February 11th, 2026, 6 p.m. at the administration building. Item 15 is adjourned. So moved to adjourn.
Second.
Second, Board Member King, all in